The mission is to fly from Boundary Bay Airport in Delta to Kamloops, in the heart of BC's interior. It's a 400-kilometer trip through some of the most spectacular mountain passes in the world. And it's the kind of trip that requires careful planning, good weather, and competent pilots. The weather turns out to be perfect, breaking a trend of rainy days just long enough for the flight to succeed. The pilots have prepared a detailed navigation plan, researched the en route to destination airports, and have checked the weather. Now, minutes from takeoff, David makes one more call to the British Columbia Flight Information Centre for a last-minute personal weather briefing and to file a flight plan. Ironically, the British Columbia FIC, which serves all of BC, most of Alberta, and even the Yukon, happens to be based right in Kamloops. The little Cessna taxis out, and after a short air traffic control delay, departs runway 12 towards White Rock, over Langley, and on through the Fraser Valley to the Fraser River Canyon. The Harrison Mills area, northwest of Chilliwack, affords the crew of Golf Whiskey Charlie Golf another spectacular view. As they get closer to Hope, BC, the terrain quickly becomes mountainous, and the snow-covered peaks can be seen well above the aircraft's cruising altitude. It's a spectacular view that few get to see from this perspective. Hope, with its Little Grass Regional Airport, marks the entrance to the Fraser River Canyon, and the little Cessna leaves behind the lowlands of the Fraser Valley, to be surrounded by tall, rocky peaks. The plane follows the path north, marked by the winding Fraser River and Trans-Canada Highway below. There are very few communities along this path: the small town of Yale, a settlement at Boston Bar, and finally Lytton, BC, where the Thompson and Fraser rivers meet. Further north along the Fraser River lies Lillooet and eventually Williams Lake and Quesnel. Our aircraft, instead, turns east and follows the Thompson River towards the BC interior. Along this barren canyon route, they find more spectacular views. The Nicola River Valley, marking the path southeast to Merritt. And eventually the town of Ashcroft. At Ashcroft, the Thompson River turns towards Kamloops Lake. As the destination approaches, the Cessna begins a slow descent out of the Thompson River Canyon and establishes radio contact with Kamloops Flight Service. The approach and landing are uneventful, and soon, Golf Whiskey Charlie Golf is parked on the ramp at Kamloops Airport. The flight covered what would have been a 5.5-hour long drive along the Trans-Canada Highway in just under 2 hours. The large plane on the left is a Convair. The smaller yellow plane is known as a Bird Dog. These aircraft work together to identify and dump huge loads of water on forest fires. The British Columbia Flight Information Centre is a surprisingly small facility located on the south side of Kamloops Airport. The flight service specialists in this building handle aviation weather forecasting, briefings, flight planning, rescue coordination, and a whole gamut of aviation services for commercial and private aircraft throughout British Columbia, Alberta, and the Yukon. Let's listen to an aircraft calling in to make a VFR position report.
Oscar Victor Pacific Radio, Roger, go ahead, position report. Oscar Victor Pacific Radio, Roger, your position, Clinton and Williams Lake 2100 Zulu altimeter, Clinton automated altimeter, 3009er, Williams Lake 3006.
After a quick lunch, Golf Whiskey Charlie Golf tops up the tanks, and the crew launches back into the Thompson Canyon to retrace their route back to Vancouver. It's been a spectacular trip through some of the most beautiful country on Earth.